Ladies and gentlemen, let's broaden our minds. So, WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment, the wrestling company that we grew up watching for years as kids, even as adults, the matches, the merchandise, the wrestlers that they all produced and love. Well, there have been some talks floating around about WWE being sold. Now, at first, when I heard these talks, I just said to myself, "There was talks." I didn't see it happening. I didn't believe it because I was one of the ones that said Vince is not going to sell that company because he built that company up from the ground and it's generational wealth for his family. So that he's going to pass along to his kids, Stephanie and Shane. They're going to pass along their kids, so on and so forth. They're not going to sell that company. Well, according to CNBC, those rumors sound very, very real. Now, let me break it down. The article says Vince McMahon is back at WWE to ensure a smooth sale process. Here's who might want to buy it. Vince McMahon has returned to the World Wrestling Entertainment Board of Directors to facilitate potential sale talks ahead of the company's media rights renewal. The notion of WWE selling isn't new. CNBC reported it looks like a sale target in April, and that appeared to only attract more in July. After a sexual misconduct scandal, the rationale is fairly straightforward. WWE is valuable intellectual property. Owning IP allows streaming services to exclusively offer content without the annoyance of winning licensing rights in an auction every few years. WWE also has value to offer in merchandise and theme park businesses. WWE hired JP Morgan to help the company advise on a potential sale. According to the people familiar with the matter, JP Morgan declined to comment along with a WWE spokesperson. If a deal occurs, it will likely occur in the next 3 to 6 months, said the people who asked not to be named because the discussions are private. WWE plans to talk to potential buyers before it makes a decision on TV rights renewal agreements. So, with that being said, we know that the talks are real, that the talks are real about selling the company, but they haven't said who, but they did list some names of some potential buyers. Now, looking at those potential names, I'm going to tell you my opinion, the ones who I think may have a chance of bringing a good deal to the table that Vince and the board might say, yeah, we'll sell. One of them was Comcast. Now, if you already know, Comcast already has a deal with WWE where they're putting some of their content on the Peacock network. And we also know that Comcast, which is and NBC Universal, that there have been trying to build up the Peacock network for the last couple of years. So do I think that Comcast may make the purchase of WWE? Maybe, but I'm not going to put too much faith in them. The next one is Disney. Now, the thing about Disney is that Bob Iger did come back to clean up Bob Chapek's mess. And we do know that Bob Iger was the one who got Pixar. He was the one that got Fox. He was the one that got Marvel and Lucasfilms. So I could possibly see Disney and Bob Iger making a run at buying WWE because in the article, remember they said far as merchandise and theme park businesses. So if Disney buys WWE, adding that to their long list of other IPs, Disney is going to whew, they're going to be moving up that powerful ladder. They're already powerful now, but just think of how powerful that they would be just by adding WWE to their IP list, merchandise and uh matches, and just, oh man, that's gonna be bananas. So, and not only that, Bob Iger knows how to negotiate deals, you know. So Disney, I can definitely see them putting a hat in the running. Netflix. Now, some of y'all probably say, I don't see Netflix doing it. I don't see Netflix not making that, not putting their hands up in that. But don't count them out, because we do know that even though that we were talking about how Netflix was losing money and they was trying to find ways to bring the company out of that little hole that they're in, I can say this. I can see Netflix making a run at trying to purchase them, because if Netflix was to get WWE, hands down, their subscriptions is going to go up like crazy, because that WWE fan base is going to come right to Netflix, which means that not only are they going to be watching Netflix, watching WWE on Netflix, then that gives Netflix that cross promotion that they can promote other projects that they got going as well. So let's just say with Stranger Things and the Wednesday project that they, I mean the Wednesday series that they can do those cross promotions at SmackDown and all those things to increase subscription rates. So once again, don't count Netflix out, because I think they can. I think that they might put their head in the ring. Amazon. We all know that Amazon, they got money up the ass. Okay. And I can definitely see Amazon putting their bid in. And not only putting their bid in, I can see them possibly outbidding anybody else that comes to the table, because they've got the money, they've got the structure, you know, and adding WWE to their content library is going to do wonders, because they can cross promote that in so many ways that it's just going to, how can I say it? It's going to be crazy. So Netflix, I can see Netflix coming to the table with a big offer. The next one was Endeavor Group Holdings. Now, the thing about Endeavor Group Holdings is that it's run by Ari Emanuel. And if y'all don't know Ari Emanuel, he's a super agent in Hollywood. And not only that, Ari Emanuel was the one that was very hands-on in the deal when uh, WME they bought UFC. So since they have UFC, I can see them saying, let's go try to get WWE. Because if we can get WWE along with already having UFC, that's going to put them in a very, very good position. Because now they're going to have two of the biggest powerful sports brands in entertainment, UFC and WWE. So pay-per-view matches, Raw and SmackDown, merchandise, the whole 10 yards. Wow, it's going to put them in a very, very good position. So I can definitely see them putting a bid in. So with all the ones that they name, like I said, the main 2 to 3 I can see is Amazon, Endeavor Group Holdings, and Disney. those are the top three that I can see that's gonna put their hats in the battle to say, hey, let's make a deal. This is what we're gonna offer. This is what we're gonna offer. This is what we're gonna offer. Now, some of y'all probably looking at that saying, but they brought Vince back after all the sexual scandals and all the things that happened. Why did they bring Vince back? The reason that they brought Vince McMahon back is because Vince owns majority stock in the company. So even if they wanted to sell, the sale cannot be official because Vince owns majority of the stock. So the reason why Vince came back wasn't coming back because he wanted to come back. He was coming back to see what's going on, what companies have made offers, and what they talking about. Because whatever they sell the company for and what company buys the company, Vince is going to get a big chunk of that money. Him and his family. And do I think Vince is going to sell all of his shares? No, he's not going to sell all of his shares. He's going to sell a big percentage of it, and he's going to keep some shares for himself, which I can see that happening. Because let's just say if a company like Amazon, or let's just say Disney, Bob Iger was to come in and say, we want to buy WWE, and the sale goes through. Vince, the businessman that he is, seeing that it's Disney, he's going to hold some of that stock for himself because he already sees the type of company that Disney is. So he ain't going to sell everything, you know. So that's why they brought Vince back. And not only that, but the reason why I see that this is going to be happening too is the fact that I know some of y'all may not like what I'm going to say, but WWE the last couple of years just haven't been interesting like that. They have not been able to reach those heights that they used to have. Because if you look at WWE back in the day, when you had people like Jesse Ventura, Hulk Hogan, the $1 Million Man, Junkyard Dog, Bret Hart, you know, those was the golden years of wrestling that I grew up on watching, and we all loved it. And then even moving into the present, when you had guys like Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Undertaker, John Cena, CM Punk, you know, Kane, you had all these other guys that came in, you know. But now you look at some of the wrestlers now that they have, not to knock them, not to say that they're not good, but they just don't bring that fire like the other wrestlers that we grew up watching or the ones that we all love. So, not saying that Roman Reigns, all those guys are not good, but to me, it's just they just don't have that fire as The Rock and the Undertaker and Hulk Hogan and all these other guys had. You know, so I can see that being one of the reasons too why they're gonna sell, because they like, hey, you know, these guys are not just pulling in the viewership and putting the asses in the seats like we want them to do, you know. So I can see them saying, hey, the best thing to sell, because if we sell right now, we can get a nice big chunk of money, you know, we can get a good deal, you know, and that's it. So I can see that reason why they want to sell. And I think Vince knows it too. I think Vince knows that that hey, you know, we had a good run. We did everything that we wanted to do. So I can see him saying that, hey, you know what? It's time to go ahead and call it quits. And I'm pretty sure this is something that he discussed with his family too. So this is very interesting. And I'm definitely going to keep you guys updated on what's going on with this. But you all let me know how y'all feel about this. And until then, stay tuned.